with you, I'm talking about this thing and you are listening and giving it importance because it is important to you to know about it. It might not be important to my family. They've already heard me talk about it so much. They're like, okay, fine, we know. Okay, cool. Because there's limited number of people there. But outside your family, there are millions who need it, what you have to offer. So you have so much energy and enthusiasm towards something, and there are millions out there who want that. So you have to go and reach out to them. You are here for people. You are here for people. You are not here for yourself. Don't worry. Your needs are fine. You'll be cool. You are here to offer something. What is it that you're here to offer? Try thinking like that, guys. Try thinking about that fourth circle. Try focusing on what people need, what you can offer, and see what beautiful thing it is, right? Experience it. That's the beauty.
Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Fashion Tales. I am Paras Chabra, the host for the show. In this podcast, I interview some of the most successful people in diverse fields who can share their story and help you to discover and pursue your passion and purpose. If you are looking for the answers to the questions like how to find my passion, how to have a fulfilling career, or how do I follow the path of my passion, then this is definitely going to help you. Today, I am interviewing Rishabh Jain. He is the founder of a startup known as Reform, through which he conducts a lot of counseling sessions for corporates as well as individuals on themes like helping them discover what they love, setting goals, helping them transform their lives, and also training them in soft skills. He himself went through a saturation in his career of finance when he wasn't liking what he was doing, so he discovered his life's mission through a lot of questioning and introspection, around which he will be sharing his experience today with us. Let's dive into the conversation. Hello. Hi Rishabh, how are you?
Hey man, I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm also doing great. So Rishabh, I'm going to start with the questions directly without further ado. So
Directly on the questions, are you going to like just send the rapid fire on my face like
yes,
that?
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Great.
So the first question is that what do you mean like when people say that, hey, this is my calling and this is my purpose? What exactly is that? Can you explain it?
Do you want like a simple answer or do you want like a detailed answer to this?
I think since this is a podcast, a detailed would work.
Okay. So see, it's very important to understand why somebody says that, right? Before we jump on to answering what do people mean by that, what it is, we need to understand why people say that. So when somebody says that, hey, this is, I want to really understand what my real calling is, it's because there is lack of contentment that they have, right? They are not able to do something which is bringing them joy. That is why they say that there's something which is not giving them that feeling of high. You feel high, right? When you do something. For example, I know for Paras, podcasting is something that gives him real joy, gives you that high. After a podcast session, you'll feel like, wow, that was fun, dude. You'll feel like dancing. So that is what is missing, is when you feel that. If you just imagine when you were a small child, did you ever feel that? Hey, what is my real calling, dude? What am I here to do?
No, you don't even think of questions like that.
Yeah. These questions come when you actually start working later in college, or when you start working, is when these questions start coming up. When you grow up, haven't you seen? Isn't that interesting to observe that? It happens with time. Because as a child, you are in so much joy in everything that you do. Everything is like this podcasting session, right? It's fun. It gives you high. You're just so much committed to what you're doing. So that is one underlying thing. We need to understand that. That is what is missing in somebody's life. All right. That's point number one. Very important thing. Why it happens. Because unless a person understands this, he'll never find his calling. Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing again I like to clarify, I'm not saying that getting that question is incorrect. No, it's very important that you get that question. In fact, the earlier you get that question, the better it is. But we need to understand the fact that once that question comes, this acceptance should also come that, all right, I am not satisfied, I am not getting joy currently, that is why this is coming to me, rather than just randomly thinking, I want to discover my calling, I want to discover my calling. The reason is that when you start thinking like that, then you start working towards the solution automatically. All right, then what is it that brings me that joy, if not this? Either you'll
Mm.
use an elimination method, or you'll do something to move towards it rather than just cribbing about it.
Mm.
You'll find a lot of people just cribbing about it, that how can I do that? Like, they don't ask how can I do that. They just simply go on rambling that, oh, I don't know what my passion is, I want to do something which makes sense. What is it that making sense? You never introspect it. How in the world will you get it? So
Mm.
that is the deal. That is the deal, that um, true calling, true passion is something that makes you that child again, wherein you were in complete ecstasy. You were enjoying everything, every moment, right? You just when the day starts, you just can't wait. You just want to relish it, live it to the fullest, enjoy it. Then you know that, hey, you're up for something. You're enjoying life. That is what your calling is, right? So
Okay.
that's for starters. That's what I can say. So all
Mm.
these alcohol, all these short term things are just like pills, right? Uh you're just probably postponing it a little bit.
Yeah.
But the true solution, the true diagnosis is required, right? And there
Mm.
are tools for that can do good diagnosis for you, and then using those tools, you can actually cure it, and feel free and enjoy your life once you've discovered your.
Can you maybe touch upon some of these tools?
Yeah, so see, that basically the tool I use that has worked for me, it's basically an ikigai model. It's a
Mm.
Japanese concept basically. So ikigai literally translates into a reason for being. That is what it
Okay.
literally means, and it is exactly what we have been discussing about. It is something that makes you want to jump out of bed and just live that day to the fullest, right? It's
Okay.
just like that solution that you have been looking for all your life, and it makes you the child again that you always wanted to be, where you just in the moment. It's beautiful when you have that.
So, what does the Ikigai model says?
So ikigai model basically revolves around four major aspects.
Mm.
First one being, what is it that you love? Then what is it that you're good at? Then what
Mm.
is it that you can be paid for? And then what is it that the world needs? So these are the four outliners or the major aspects of it. And
Okay.
then it's just about discovering these aspects about you. So it's about being a little self-aware and trying to discover all these elements one by one. So when I say what you love to do, so, well, again, things you get engrossed in. For example, for you it might be podcasting, talking to people,
Mm.
connecting, right? There can be so many things that you love to do. Similarly, there
Mm.
can be so many things that you're good at. So many things now here it's not necessary that you love doing them, but you're good at it,
Yeah.
right? That's the second aspect. Then things that you can be paid for. Now, again, you can be paid for them, right? It's not mandatory that you uh, are really, really good at it, or you really, really love doing it. You might
Mm.
be good enough that you get paid, right?
Okay.
So that's the third aspect. And then the final one is what the world needs. So there are so many things in the world that is required. What is it that, as per you think the world needs, and you can offer that?
So can you share me your own journey? Like, how would you call is your own calling, and how did you discover it?
My journey has been like a crazy roller coaster, man. It's been so crazy. I can't even tell you. The reason I'm such a big fan of this Ikigai model, and also the reason I feel I have an authority to talk about it, is because I've lived it. I have literally lived through it. I was like when I was 17, if you had
Mm.
asked me, or in fact, when I was around 2021, if you had asked me that, dude, if you would have told me, dude, you will end up being a career counselor, counseling people what to do with the career, I would have laughed at your face. I like, what is it that you're saying? I have no idea what's happening. So I was so lost. I've tried everything. The deal with me and the deal which is with a lot of people, I feel, is that they're good at so many things, it's that actually ruins it for them. It's literally a curse when you're good at a lot of things, because then you have to make a
Okay.
choice, and you don't want to let go of one thing because you're good at so many things, right?
Or maybe you love them, you have interest in them.
Either you love them, either you are so good at them, either you can be paid for them, either the world needs them. See, nothing is outside these four guiding principles of Ikigai. Now, nothing is outside them. All right, I'll talk about the inner aspects of it, but from the outline, nothing would be outside it. If I talk about an individual, either you would, whatever is it that your calling is, either you would love it, you would have to love it, right? You'd have to be good at it. You should be getting paid for it, and there should be some kind of a requirement for it in the world also, right? Otherwise, why are you required if there's no requirement for that thing in the world? Correct? So it's very beautifully made. But again, if I come back to my journey, so it's been like, I always wanted to become a cricketer when I was really small. So I had that direction that yes, this is what I want to do. This is what my ikigai is, and it truly was what I wanted to do. It was my ikigai, and I continued playing. I played at a very good level, but due to some medical problems, I had to leave that, right? And that is when the mess started, right? That is when the mess started, because till then it was like, okay, you are good at something, you're very good at it, and you have to pursue this. Fine, very simple, no problems, fantastic. But now you cannot pursue it, and now so many other avenues are there wherein you are good, and you can choose any one of them, and your family is also supportive that yeah, go ahead, choose any one of them. And then you're like, oh god, what is this? How can I make that choice? It's so hard, I have no clarity. So similar thing that I was always sharp in studies, so I could do well by studying very less. So then I figured that I have a good mind for management, so I thought, okay, I'll probably study management. Then from management, was probably, since the time I left cricket, somewhere the back of my mind, I always wanted to prove myself to everyone, and I wanted to probably showcase that in academics also I can probably do the toughest of the things. And then from a commerce and a management side, the toughest thing to do is finance, right? That's the toughest area, and doing a course like CF is really tough. So like, okay, I'll take this up, and this is like the toughest thing. Let me do this, and I could get numbers. I was good with numbers, and my mom used to do stock market trading, so I always used to be intrigued by that, and I wanted to study it. So I took that up, and I gave a lot of years to finance, and it felt like yeah, this is what I really want to do. It makes sense. But the thing was, the only thing that kept me moving was some external factor that I want to prove myself. So when I cleared my exams, when I got the best of the jobs, very nice package, when I was all successful, the saturation was reached. I no longer felt the need of proving anything, and that is when it hit me that now what? I have no motivation of doing this. I really don't want to continue doing this. Again, that thing came to my mind that I can't do this for another 25, 30 years of my life. It's so hard. The field just could not connect with me. I wanted to do something else. That's what I knew, is what we were discussing, right? I knew this is not something which I want to do. And then I started focusing on the aspect of what I love, right? So that was my only area of concern, what I love and something that I'm good at, right? So that is what I figured, yeah, this is what I should do. When something that I'm good at is something I can be paid for, this was my profession, but that was not what I wanted to pursue anymore. I thought, why not focus on something that I love and I'm good at, rather than good at and being paid for. That love element was missing. So I was in this fix that should I choose I had chosen my profession, but now I'm going to go with my passion, right? This is what the model also says. So very interestingly, till now, the model was not introduced in our country. Till now, till this point, I had realized this. The Ikigai model was not introduced in the country. Okay.
Like the book wasn't there.
The model was not, the model just came a few years back, that Ikigai
Oh,
model.
okay.
Yeah, the concept is
Okay.
really old, but it was adapted into a model. That model, of course, our audience can go ahead and check it as well. Of course, I'm explaining it to you as well on the podcast. So I did not know about the model. My thinking used to be like that I have been focusing
Okay.
on what I am good at and what I can be paid for, which was finance as the profession.
Mm.
Whereas I should focus on what I love and what I am good at. That should be my profession. So my passion should be my profession. That is what I started focusing on.
Mm.
Because when I used to play cricket, I used to feel, yeah, this is right, because that was something which I was good and I love to do as well. Right. So
Yeah.
then I thought I'll probably focus on something like that, which at that
Mm.
point in time was singing, because cricket I could not play professionally anymore. So
Mm.
that ended up to being singing and music. So I thought, okay, I'll give this a shot in life, because I don't really know what else to do. So let's focus on this. And then when I took that decision, when I left my job, so I left my job, like the best of the jobs in finance that everybody dreams to have, I left it
Yeah.
just like that. I said, okay, I'll do this, because I was so clear that was something which I cannot do now. So there was no point even wasting one more day doing that. Right.
Okay.
So I did that, took that hard call, and I was around 24 at that point in time.
Okay.
So, and as soon as I left my job, a few months later, a relative sent me this model. And the moment I look
Okay.
at this model, I was like, hey, this is exactly how I used to think. What I love and what I am good at and what I can be paid for. I have always looked at these three areas, and this fits in. But this says passion or profession. There's like, okay, I've tried profession, so I'm trying my passion. But then I saw there's
Mm.
another angle. There's a fourth angle of what the world needs that completes this model. And that was one aspect that I had never thought of. And that is one aspect that nobody thinks of. Very few people think about that. What is it that the world needs? You tell me one thing. How in the world can you derive joy if you don't do something that people really need? It's very hard,
Okay.
right? Even if you become a musician, a good
Mm.
musician, you need people who need that music for you to truly enjoy it, right? For
Okay.
example, if you create a fantastic podcast, I know
Yeah.
this is something which you love to do, that is why you're doing it. But after creating a fantastic podcast, what is it the first thing that you want to do?
Maybe start editing it, or maybe just put it out for the people to listen.
Once it's final, ready, made, done, what is the first thing you would want to do after listening to it
Yeah.
yourself?
I would want to know other people's feedback. Like, did they like it? Did they find it useful?
You would want people to look at it. You want to share what you have created. If you're good at something, you want to share it with people, right? So
Yeah.
if I am good at singing, I would want an audience that could listen to it, that could enjoy it, right? I so that because
Okay.
that completes it. People complete what you want. You cannot just be alone all the time doing it for yourself. It will
Yeah.
it's just going to lead you into inertia, right? You will just get bored of it.
Yeah.
That's why that fourth angle of what the world needs is so crucial. So till that point, I had that fourth angle missing. I was either stuck between passion or profession, passion or profession, passion, and it's a terrible struggle. So let's see what happened. So then I continued my passion for music, and
Mm.
again, as I said, after a little time, so I have always been like a perfectionist kind of a guy. So I'll do this and I'll do that. I have to be ready, proper training, classical vocals trainings, and this doing these courses, that courses. And when that money angle got involved into it, that music, because it was my passion, I liked a certain kind of music. But
Yeah.
when that showbiz come into the picture, you have to do what people demand, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I stopped enjoying it after a point in time when money got involved in it, when I had to do what people wanted, not what I wanted.
Yeah.
It got away from me. I stopped enjoying it, which is when I learned
Okay.
the most important lesson in my life, that it is not mandatory for you to convert your passion into your profession. It is not mandatory to do that. You might be able to do it. It's good, but it's not mandatory. A lot of people are under this impression, my passion is supposed to be my calling. No, it's a part of it. It's a part of it,
Okay.
right? So let's see how it is a part of it. So as per the model, I mentioned the four outlines, right? What you love, what you're good
Mhm.
at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Now,
Yeah.
all these four are basically in form of a Venn diagram, wherein they are all overlapping over one
Yeah.
another. So if there are four circles that are overlapping in one another, there are going to be four overlaps, right? As per a simple
Mhm.
Venn diagram. So when the what you love gets overlapped with what you're good at, it comes out to be your passion, which I already discussed with you, right?
Yeah.
Which was music
Okay.
for me. If what you are good at gets overlapped with what you can be paid for, that becomes your profession, right? Which
Yeah.
I told you was finance earlier for me. What
Mm.
you can be paid for and what the world needs becomes your vocation, right? I had
Yeah.
no idea what this is for me because I never thought about what the world needs aspect. And what the world
Yeah.
needs and what you love becomes your mission.
Okay.
Again, I had not thought about it. So I knew what could be my passion. I knew what could be my profession. My passion could not be my profession. That is what I was trying. So that was the only hope left. I had tried my passion differently, profession differently, and I tried my passion overcoming my profession. That was not working. So I was like, okay, I have no clue. I have nowhere to go. So that
Okay.
is when by a lot of luck, I got this model and I realized there's another angle, what the world needs, right? That I
Mhm.
need to figure out. And I had stopped doing music by then because I felt I was completely a lost cause. And then I started doing a lot of volunteering work to
Yeah.
explore what is it that the world needs, right?
Mhm.
I started doing volunteering. I got involved with an NGO and I started practicing mindfulness. And well, in a few days, it just struck me that it just struck me, and it's beautiful when that thing strikes you. And I was
Mhm.
constantly self introspecting. What is it that the world needs that I can offer? What is it the world needs that I can offer? That question was always there with me. Other things I knew, other three circles I knew about me very well. This circle was completely unexplored, so I kept asking, what is it?
Mhm.
And then one fine day, it just struck me. It's beautiful. It just strikes you. Um, but I had been asking myself so many questions all this while that I had become an expert on all this entire model. Every day I used to spend some time on it, thinking about it, trying ways to decode it, because it was just like a phenomenon written in a blog. There was not like a proper course around it that you can do and discover it, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of felt that, okay, let me try to discover using it. um so then one fine day I realized, since I was really small, I had always enjoyed helping people out, talking to them and making them feel better. That I have always
Okay.
enjoyed doing. This was one thing which I was continuously doing. I had been doing it in my companies also, with all the associates, new people. I just used to help them without any ulterior motives. It would just give me high. It would just give me that feeling of joy at work. One thing that
Mhm.
has always given me joy everywhere is talking to people and helping them. And that is when I realized this is something that world needs, and this is something that I can do, right? And then I
Okay.
got a clarity about my vocation and my mission, that my mission is
Okay.
to really make people joyful, happy, and discover what is it that they really want to do in their life. Any kind of guidance and help they need, I want to give that, make them the best versions of themselves. And my vocation,
Yeah.
of course, is counseling people, right? Offering them some sort of counselings. And that's how it worked, right? I figured all of them out individually what they were, and I knew what my passion was. I got to know that what my profession is also kind of offering trainings to people, giving them some soft skills development, because that was something which I was good at and I could be paid for apart from finance. I did not want to do
Okay.
finance anymore. And then I discovered my vocation and mission as well. So all four of them, I knew what they were, and that's how I basically discovered my ikigai. So now I just have it. I have a lot of things that bring me that ikigai. So that's
Okay.
basically my journey. in a nutshell. And then I, of course, started my own startups, and I have been helping people all around the country, doing counseling, giving them trainings. I have my own startup now, which is into training and consultancy. So that's about it. That's about it. And I do teach this model because I somehow spent so many years on it that I was able to master it, and now I take these sessions, and people are benefiting from it. So that's about it. That's basically the story.
So that's an amazing story. First of all, like you explained everything in detail, like step by step. How did you go about your model? Okay, so my next question was really around this only, like how to differentiate between the desires and the true calling. But I think this fourth element is that which differentiates your desires and everything from your true calling, right?
It does. It will not, your desires, it gets merged in. That's the beauty of the model. Ikigai is like an amalgamation of your passion, your profession, your mission, and your vocation. So it can be
Okay.
one thing that brings all of this.
Hmm.
It can be different things, which one thing is your passion, one thing is a profession, one thing is your mission, one thing is your vocation, but you're able to take out time for all four of them. So in a holistic manner, you do have your ikigai. For me, I was fortunate that I was able to decode the model in a way that one thing does bring everything for me. It does. There
Yeah.
is one thing which brings that ikigai for me, but there are other things as well which are there in those individual overlaps, which I do perform.
Hmm.
Right? So it can be in combination. You just need to know and be aware that in order to have that satisfaction, in order to be in bliss, I need to do these four areas. I have to cover these four areas every day. We have to cover these four areas.
Okay.
Paras, when you wake up in the morning, okay, when you wake up
Yeah.
in the morning, that's the key. When you wake up in the morning, you look forward to do something, and if
Hmm.
that something is not something which is your ikigai, you would not want to get up. You'll have to drag yourself. If you
Yeah.
start your day by dragging yourself, you'll end your day by dragging yourself, and that is how you
Yeah.
get old, right? That is how you start feeling old. That is when you start moving towards your old age internally, right? You start
Yeah.
feeling old because you're dragging yourself. But
Hmm.
the moment you get up, if everything is going in that flow where you don't have to put in any effort, it's just like in a flow, it's just happening. You don't even know when the day ends.
Yeah.
Then you start coming towards your bachpan. I like saying not childhood, bachpan. You start coming back to that bachpan of yours, and that is the beauty of ikigai. It brings you back to your childhood nature, which is innocence. If you'll talk to any of any of the people who are close to me, who really know me, not the professional side of me, like the way I am, the way I'm talking right now, they'll say he's a very innocent boy. But if you talk to the people who were with me when I was in finance, they'll say, yeah, he's such a mature guy. He's like always thought out, sorted out. It'll be complete contrasting views because I was just not connected to the child in me. But now I am. When I wake up, I know there are people waiting for me because I'm so focused on what really the world needs, and everything gets connected to that. And that is how it works. That is how I train people on this concept. Focus on that. What do you
Okay.
think?
Yeah, I think this is great. Like, I'm also getting some insights from this. Like, I have had days like that when you know you have to just drag yourselves, and sometimes when like you don't realize it. I think you don't really work upon it on deliberately, but when you are doing something good, like totally immersed into it. Like for sometimes I'm editing podcasts, I just don't realize the like 2 hours or 3 hours just go by just like that. There's this effortless flow.
For example, you just see it's been around what 40 plus minutes that we have been talking. It would
Yeah.
not feel like 40 minutes. At least to me, it would not, because I'm talking about my ikigai, right?
Hmm.
So at least to me, it will not, because I'm talking about something which I get so engrossed doing. So that's how it is. That's how it works. And you don't feel tired. You feel more energetic after it. People often ask that, yeah, you don't get tired? You're like all the time, you're just crazy working either this project, either that project. I'm like, no, I'll get tired if I waste my time. That's more tiring. Like because
Yeah.
you have that direction, no, then you just want to go all in. So it
Yes.
just changes your personality. You just feel that you just reborn after discovering it.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, related to this only, I'm sure, like, okay, you might not have experience in this right now, but you might be reading about these kind of stuff. So, I want to know in that sense that, do you think that this might change in, like, when you grow up, your reason for being, or ikigai, whatever you call it, your calling? Do you think this can change with time, with the experiences you have?
It can change. Of course, it can change.
Okay.
It can
So,
change. Definitely, it can change. It's not one hard and fast rule that this is it. I'll tell you, for example, once you get married, once you have kids, your ikigai will change. It has to change.
yeah.
Then you know how parents are, right? Parents just want their kid. This is if their kid is happy, then they're happy. Their child is their ikigai. That is how at least
Yeah.
Indian parents are, isn't it?
Yes.
Your mom would just be excited if you're happy. She'll just want you to be happy, or your
Yes.
father would just want you to be happy. So it can change, all right? It will change. For example, a profession would not hold that much value if you are at a certain age, right?
Mm.
Your vocation might not hold too much value if you're at a certain age. So it's a combination. It keeps on changing. It keeps on changing. But the thing is, you would always have some ikigai, and if you are constantly aware, you will have it. It's inevitable to have it. Just know it's not rocket science. When you wake up in the
Mm.
morning, are you dragging yourself, or are you just going with the flow? That's it. It's just about being a little proactive and futuristic. Now, some people might argue, some intellectual person somewhere sitting might be thinking, hey, first thing when I wake up in the morning, no, is like I have to go and brush my teeth, which I don't like to do. Is brushing my teeth my ikigai? So, buddy, anybody who is thinking that, let me tell you that it is that thing which you need to do, and for that you have to brush your teeth quickly so that you can get to it. That's what it
Yeah.
is. All right.
Yeah.
So you
So,
will just quickly brush your teeth. You won't even think about, I have to go and brush my teeth. You'll just think, okay, let me just quickly go brush my teeth. People are waiting. I have to go and do this. That's how it is. So
okay. So, like, do you think that we can deliberately also work upon that? Like, I'm sure your priorities and future, everything changes, right? And it is supposed to be like that because you are not dead human beings. So, uh, but do you think you can work upon that? Because I think that, like you talked about Indian parents, right? Because I think that we are brought in the society where there's a little bit of narrow vision, like we confine our priorities to just our families and like that. But do you think that we can build our vision or ikigai like that, so we have a little more contribution for circle outside our own family?
it gets covered, no? When I say what the world needs, don't you think it gets covered in that? Doesn't it? Isn't it?
Yes. So, like, so if do you think that it won't change to, like, just being confined in the family when you grow up with age? Do you think that element will fade away?
See, I'll tell you something very technical. With your family, what happens is that with the family, there is no filter, right? And
Mm.
with the family, at times you can go days without speaking and you'll not be bothered really because you're so engrossed. You're just there, it just
Yeah.
works like that. For example, in lockdown, you would have seen you're with your family, somebody's there, and you're not talking for a lot of days. It's fine. You're just busy with your deal. It's just going on, right?
Yeah.
But that is not how it is with people outside. So, for example, let's say if I am talking to you about this concept right now. Now you are
Mm.
outside my family, right?
Yeah.
Like I do consider you're a very good friend. So I, of course, in a way you are like family, but technically you're outside my family, right?
Yes.
So with you, I'm talking about this thing and you are listening and giving it importance because it is important to you
Yeah.
to know about it. That is why you're giving it importance. It might not be important to my family. They've already heard me talk about it so much. They're like, okay, fine, we know. Okay, cool. Because there's limited number
Okay.
of people there. But outside your family, there are millions who need it. what you have to offer. So you have so much energy and
Okay.
enthusiasm towards something, and there are millions out there who want that. So you have to go and reach out to them.
Okay.
So that is why it's important. You can't get stuck just to your family. So for example, let's say that today my ikigai is to travel and probably give talk to people and help them discover their calling, right?
Mhm.
So right now, probably I want to do it in a certain way wherein I'm completely engrossed into it, right? In future, I
Mhm.
might have other ways of doing it. Probably
Mhm.
when I'm a little old, I might want to just write a book around it and ensure through
Yeah.
that book I reach people. There can be ways, right? There can be ways,
Yeah.
but it's not that I just get stuck to my family. What I'm saying is that family would become an important part of you getting your ikigai. Okay,
Okay.
it becomes an important part. If your child is not happy, you will get bothered. That's how we are emotional sensitive beings, right? And it should be like that. So then, well, in my case, I know helping my child would be my ikigai.
Mhm.
So it
Okay.
at times might get confined to your family, right?
Yeah.
But it's not limited to that. That broader vision has always has importance. So you should always focus on the broader vision also. What is it that the people need? You are here
Yeah.
for people. You are here for people. You are not here for yourself. Don't worry. Your needs are fine. You'll be cool. You are here to offer something. What is it that you're here to offer? Try thinking like that, guys. Try thinking about that fourth circle. पूरा जिंदगी सोच लिया यार अब अपने बारे में ना. What you love, what you are good at, what you can be paid
Yeah.
for. सोच लिया ना पूरा जिंदगी. अभी भी मिल गया क्या कुछ? नहीं मिला ना. Try focusing on what people need, what you can offer, and see what beautiful thing it is, right? Experience it. That's the beauty.
Yeah. I think, yeah, this is beautiful. I think, uh, like more than what you can get if you think around, more than what you can contribute for. And I think it's not just about non-profit or things like that. This is something which helps you build better products, better companies also.
Exactly. You go and read about the vision of any Fortune 500 company. Go and just read it, and then tell me what is it that they're focusing on. You'll always
Mm.
focus on some problem that you're solving. Any business in this world is successful because it solves a purpose, it solves a problem, it solves a need. It is giving the world something that it needs. No business
Yeah.
becomes successful because the person loves doing it or is good at
Mm.
it or thinks that I can be paid for it. It becomes a business because it solves a need. You can
Mm.
start loving it. You can become good at it. You can get paid for it.
Yeah.
But it has to be something that the world needs. Otherwise, it will not be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Tomorrow I might say that, yeah, I love making floppy disks, right? Tomorrow I say I love making
Mm.
floppy disks. I'm good at it. I think I'll get paid for if I make it. But boss, do the world need it now? Does the world need it? What will they do with floppy disks? It's obsolete. Come on, they need something else. So figure out something that they need. And trust me, once you figure that out, rest three circles get figured out on its way. Just try it out. Take a leap of faith. Be selfless.
Mm.
Try it out.
Makes sense.
That's what I have.
So,
That's what I would have to say.
okay. So this was a great conversation. Like, I really enjoyed it. I think I had a lot of questions like written down, but you explained everything anyway. Almost everything is already covered, so I won't go on asking them. So yeah. So lastly, any final takeaway that you would like to give to people who want to live a life of purpose?
Guys, know that just know that you have to enjoy yourself. That's it. Like, just figure out how you can enjoy yourself and how you can be of use. Just these two things. Just ask yourself these two questions every day. All right.
Mm.
One final thing, uh, the inception of my saturation and the inception of my journey towards my ikigai started with a quote
Mm.
from Steve Jobs that I have kept really close to my heart, right? Steve Jobs said that if you get ready for work, for getting started for your day, and you're looking in the mirror just before you leave for work, and if you ask yourself, had this been the last day of my life, would I be doing what? I'll just go forward and do it? And if the answer is no, on a constant basis, you have to change what you're doing. You have to change, right? So just be with this question. What is it that brings you joy? What is it that you love doing? Do that. And how can you be of use to this world? Focus on that. You're just 2 questions away from your ikigai. That's all I have to say. And you have all my blessing. And I hope I'll find you someday if you don't find your ikigai. Because trust me, the day I find you, I'll help you discover it. Right? Cheers.
Yeah, sure. And would you like to talk about, like, I know you have a startup called Reform with us. I'll share the links with the people. So would you like to talk something about that?
Yeah, so Reform is again, it's kind of like an amalgamation of my profession, passion, mission, and vocation, wherein my mission is to help people reform and be the best version of themselves. So it's for corporates, also organizations, also startups, also, and for individuals also. So we have a cute club called Club Reform, wherein we help students, and then of course we're reaching out to entrepreneurs or startups to offer them our services in either it's soft skill trainings, or the subtle aspects of life, or is it helping the businesses improve, just giving in perspective, right? So that's what I bring to the table. I bring in a perspective which is priceless, and that's what we do. And that's basically there, and we are available. Website is www.reformtrainings.com. My Instagram and Facebook handle is Reform with Us, so you can go check out the posts, and if you wish to connect with us. You can, if you're a student, sure, join Club Reform. We do a lot of masti together. We do a lot of things, and we do so many. We just watched a movie together, all of us, and we just saw this movie Whiplash, and then we discuss what are the cool things that we learn from movies. So just like that, we do a lot of cool stuff, and I already took this complimentary session for all these kids who join my community, right? So then they can discover ikigai. So that's it. Like I'm doing a lot of masti, yeah. That's it. I'm doing a lot of masti, and somehow me doing masti helps people. So that works out best for me, right?
I think that's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Rishabh. Thanks a lot. I'm sure this podcast is going to help a lot of people who are feeling stuck and want to discover their calling. Yeah.
Great, Paras. Great. I hope that does. Yeah. I hope that. I think you're doing a fantastic job, and thank you so much for calling me and asking me all these nice questions. And I am a big time attention seeker. So thank you for giving me so much attention for 1 hour. I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the episode, guys. I'm sure this conversation helped you in some way to get some clarity on what you want to do with your own lives. I would highly recommend you to not just listen this podcast but also apply this in your own life. I'm going to do this too. And if you ever feel stuck, do reach out to me for any questions that you would like to be answered. You can email those to me or DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is passion_tales and my email is passiontalesofficial@gmail.com. I'll also add these in the description. Also, if you are interested in getting deep into Ikigai and you feel like you need a mentor here, do reach out to Rishabh. I'll be adding his links in the description too. All the best, guys. Let's meet in the next episode.